Hello, hello, hello. Okay, it's 11:25, and in 5 minutes, the Southern District of New York, the U.S. Attorney's Office, they will be giving a press conference on Mayor Adams getting indicted last night. Hello, Taryn. So I clearly decided to do this very last minute. I have Fox 5 up that's going to stream the presser in about 5 minutes. They're streaming a lot of things right now. I can pull that up in a minute, but I want to go over just a few things about the indictment. I mean, literally, Dizzy sent it to me. Thank you so much, Dizzy, about 5 minutes ago. So I'm scouring through it. It's about 57 pages, but I want to quickly read you the charges and just kind of tell you about what those charges are. And just really quickly, I live on the Upper East Side of New York, and that's where Gracie Mansion is, the mayor's mansion. And it was insane last night. First of all the streets were blocked off. And it's also the United Nations conference, and Joe Biden was in town. I mean, getting around this city was crazy. But there was said to be a police van. It looked like kind of like a Rikers van, but it was an NYPD van that was right around Gracie Mansion last night. So people were talking about that. Everybody was whispering, thinking that he was actually going to be taken into custody. Clearly, he was not. But I also want to point out last year, Eric Adams, one of his cell phones were seized. And apparently, they were looking to seize another one of his cell phones, during this time around. So let me go through these charges really quick. Count 1, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, federal program bribery, and to receive campaign contributions by foreign nationals. So they're saying that Eric Adams committed wire fraud by fraudulently obtaining public matching funds, and he received illegal campaign contributions from foreign nationals. And matching funds is a big thing here. And I mean, it's tough. Like it's hard to get matching funds. I feel like in New York, it's a bit easier if you're a Democrat, which he is, but for Republicans, it's tough. So, okay, count 2, wire fraud. Adams was involved in a scheme to defraud by misrepresenting the nature of campaign contributions to obtain public matching funds fraudulently. So we're sensing a theme here. Count 3 and count 4, it's solicitation of a contribution by a foreign national. And this is where the allegations of the Turkish government come in. So Adams solicited and accepted and received illegal campaign contributions from foreign nationals during his 2021 mayoral election. And this is the same charge for count 4, which is solicitation of a contribution of a foreign national. But this is for his campaign next year. It says he solicited illegal foreign contributions for his 2025 reelection campaign. And then count 5, lastly, making sure we have enough time, is bribery. So he accepted bribes, shocker, in the form of luxury travel and other benefits from foreign officials, including the Turkish official, in exchange for political favors related to different city matters, including safety inspections and building approvals, which is kind of crazy. My one thing here, and I'm going to make sure I share the screen before, you know what, I'm going to talk and share it. But my one thing here is I was never a huge fan of him. And yes, this is federal, Terrence. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat, but this is federal. So I don't think he's going to be, held without bail. I don't think he'll be sitting next to Diddy in like the baby oil cell or anything at MDC. But hey, you never know. Let me get this going. Oh, wait. I'm trying to share this with you guys right now. Let me rewind it.
We showed how we operate during difficult times. And when you say who's the point person that's going to deal with business,
really quick, I gotta find the presser, but
the point person is Eric Adams.
I'll play this right now.
And I have a competent team, of deputy mayors, a competent team of people are going to continue to lead forward, and we're excited about that. Okay, right, Katie.
You say this is a retaliation for speaking out against the migrant crisis, but according to the indictment, it dates back to your 2021 campaign.
Okay, everybody is playing this right now.
I mean, the allegations seem to go along with what we've been reporting for at least a year, almost a year. What do you say to that? I mean, you said you traveled to these countries countries. You can deny that you took any kickbacks from these countries. You deny that you intervened on behalf of the Turkish government to try to get these countries.
I think I'm going to play. Why is he smiling like that? Jeez. I'm going to switch and play Associated Press. Hang on one second.
My legal team, my legal team is going to peruse the entire indictment. We got it today. When it was released, the news media received information before we did, as they have been receiving for the last 10 months. It appears as though the goal is to try this case publicly and not in the criminal justice system that's in place.
Karen,
so
he's not resigning, and I'm okay with it. I'll tell you why.
Clear that if it's campaign violations, I know I don't violate the campaign.
That's right.
If it's foreign donors, I know I don't take money from foreign donors. And I verbalize that to the team, both in writing and both in communication. And we will continue to do that. And we look forward for the legal team to handle this as I handle the city of New York and continue the success that we've witnessed in the last 2 years and 9 months.
There's nothing else like, oh, here we go. Here we go. Hold on. Switching, share this tab instead. Okay, I switched. People are chanting resign. Okay, hold on one second. Let me get this one going. I found another the presser that's waiting. This is so crazy. They're chanting resign, but the reason I don't want him to resign is because if he does, the next in line is this awful guy, Jumaane Williams. He is, gosh, so bad. So bad. I would not be okay if he, here we go. Oh no, this isn't starting either. I cannot find it. If you guys can find, thank you, Taryn. You're so kind. This always happens to me where I have to be somewhere and some huge news breaks. So far, nobody is playing the Southern District of New York presser. I'm looking everything live. Everybody's waiting.
It's a very narrow indictment in a sense, but it goes
Saw
deep.
this.
So what I mean by that is there have been all sorts of investigations swirling around the administration, all sorts of allegations of potential.
Okay, everyone's waiting here. Okay, here we go.
All right, we'll start the at Eric Adams press conference in about 2 minutes.
Okay.
No questions, and we'll give presentment information when it's available. Thank you.
Okay, 2 minutes. So I will keep talking for a second. So I actually don't want him to resign because although I did not vote for him, he is not really my mayor. I just think we'd be a lot worse off if Jumaane Williams stepped into his role. He would absolutely destroy New York. Let's go through a little bit more about this before it starts. It said the press conference is going to start in about 2 minutes. I went through the charges. What's also interesting is that nobody is named by their name in this indictment. Again, it's 57 pages. It says Turkish official, businessman 1, businessman 2, businessman 3, businessman 4, Adams staffer, airline manager, the promoter, Adams fundraiser. This is what everybody, and then Adams employee 1 and Adams employee 2. So this is what people are listed as in this indictment, which led me to believe that his associates were cooperating. So I think while, yes, more people will most likely be arrested, I think a lot of people flipped on him for sure. Okay, I'm going to remove the banner as well because I feel like that's in the way. I'll put this back up, guys, and it should start literally any minute. Okay, there we go. And he said no questions. Let's go. So awkward. Yeah, Taryn, it is weird. They're not allowing questions. I mean, I feel like also the feds are very busy. They're really making it known that they're not targeting Republicans or Democrats. It doesn't matter who you are. I think they're trying to prove something here. Gretchen, you're funny. So funny. And if you're not aware, because you're not a New Yorker, the police commissioner recently stepped down because of some charges against his brother related to extortion. So things are going down in New York.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for gathering. My name is Damian Williams, and I'm the United States Attorney here in the Southern District of New York. Today, we are announcing campaign finance, bribery, and conspiracy charges against Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City. As the indictment alleges, Mayor Adams engaged in a long-running conspiracy in which he solicited and knowingly accepted illegal campaign contributions from foreign donors and corporations. As we allege, Mayor Adams took these contributions even though he knew they were illegal, and even though he knew these contributions were attempts by a Turkish government official and Turkish businessmen to buy influence with him. We also allege that the mayor sought and accepted well over $100,000
If it goes any
in
louder.
luxury travel benefits from some of the same foreign actors who arranged many of the illegal campaign contributions. These benefits included free international business class flights and opulent hotel rooms in foreign cities. The mayor had a duty to disclose these gifts on his annual public disclosure forms so that the public could see who was giving him what. But as we allege, year after year after year, he kept the public in the dark. He told the public he received no gifts, even though he was secretly being showered with them. We allege that Adams accepted these benefits knowing that they were given to him because of his position. And in exchange for some of those improper benefits, he intervened in the New York City Fire Department's inspection process for a building owned and operated by the Turkish government, allowing it to open even though it had not passed the fire inspection. The corruption alleged in the indictment is, as I said, long-running. As we allege in the indictment, Adams's solicitation of illegal campaign contributions began in 2018. After he started raising funds for his 2021 mayoral campaign, he agreed to take contributions offered by multiple Turkish businessmen, several of whom he met in Turkey. Adams knew that these wealthy individuals could not legally donate in a US election. Federal law clearly prohibits foreign donations. That's how we protect our elections from foreign influence. Yet Adams directed his staff to pursue this illegal money to support his campaign for mayor. And as we allege, Adams continued to pursue foreign money in secret well into 2021. And it didn't stop with his first campaign for mayor. As we allege, in 2023, the mayor rekindled these corrupt relationships, seeking more illegal campaign contributions from some of the same foreign sources to support his re-election campaign. Adams also took contributions that broke other laws. As we allege, he sought contributions from businessmen far in excess of what the law allowed. He also allegedly sought contributions from corporations, which are not allowed to contribute at all in New York City elections. Many of those illegal corporate contributions were organized by the same people who organized the illegal foreign contributions. And Adams allegedly disguised them all in the same way by accepting the money through so-called straw donors. A straw donor contributes someone else's money, hiding the money's illegal source, such as a foreign businessman, a corporation, or a wealthy New Yorker who has already contributed the maximum amount allowed. And as we allege, Adams circumvented all of these laws, taking contributions from exactly the sources the law prohibits, all to benefit his mayoral campaigns. Now, Adams also personally benefited from the illegal conduct alleged in the indictment. Adams solicited and accepted over $100,000 in luxury travel benefits for years
Oh,
from wealthy Turkish business people and at least one Turkish government official seeking to gain influence over him. Adams started accepting undisclosed luxury travel benefits at least as early as 2016. He took these benefits nearly every year through 2021. Here are some of the benefits that we uncovered during our investigation. In 2016, Adams flew to India through Turkey and received 2 free round-trip upgrades for business class seats. That's the highest class on Turkey's national airline. Those upgrades were worth more than $12,000, and none of it was publicly disclosed. In 2017, Adams accepted free business class tickets for himself and his travel companions to France, Turkey, and China. And he was put up in the Bentley Suite in the St. Regis Hotel in Istanbul. All of that was worth more than $41,000, and none of it was publicly disclosed. Also in 2017, he flew to China, again, through Turkey, and accepted 2 free business class tickets for himself and a companion. Those were worth more than $16,000, and none of it was publicly disclosed. In 2018, he flew to Hungary through Turkey
oof.
and accepted free upgrades for business class seats. Those were worth more than $12,000, and none of it was publicly disclosed.
Mm.
In 2019, he flew to Turkey and accepted a free upgrade to business class for his companion and a free stay in a lavish suite at the St. Regis Hotel in Istanbul. That was worth more than $9,000. And again, none of it was publicly disclosed.
We knew this.
In
New Yorkers
2021,
knew this.
Adams solicited business class tickets to Istanbul, stays at luxury hotels and resorts, yacht tours, and meals. As we allege, he asked to pay a nominal fee for all of this in order to disguise what we allege were in fact bribes. He canceled that trip at the very last minute, but the benefits that he solicited were worth more than $21,000. And later in 2021, Adams flew to Ghana, again, through Turkey, and accepted free business class ticket upgrades and other gifts while he was on a layover in Istanbul. Those benefits were worth more than $12,000. And just like all the other benefits I've just run through, none of it was publicly disclosed. Now, I want to be clear. These upgrades and freebies were not part of some frequent flyer or loyalty program available to the general public. As we allege, this was a multi-year scheme to buy favor with a single New York City politician on the rise, Eric Adams. Now, this is a chart with all of the undisclosed travel benefits that we uncovered during the investigation.
Oh,
We just listed all out here. You see the year, 2016, 2017, 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2 in 2021. The destination, India all the way to Ghana. The benefits, the free upgrades or free tickets altogether, the hotel stays, and the value. And if you just sum up all the dollar amounts here, you get to more than $100,000. And of course, as I said before, every single trip that we list here was undisclosed.
not a surprise.
As we allege in the indictment, in addition to not disclosing these benefits, Adams sometimes created fake paper trails to try to cover up the travel benefits he solicited and received. Let me give you one example. Adams wrote emails to his staff suggesting he paid for his 2017 business class flights on the Turkish airline when, as we allege, he did not. Those flights were worth a lot of money. Just one ticket alone cost more than $10,000. But months after taking the flights, Adams wrote an email to a staff member and told the staff member that he had left cash in her desk drawer and that she should send the money to the Turkish airline to pay for a trip he had already taken. As the indictment makes clear, that's just a clumsy cover-up. Now, just because Adams received benefits for free, that doesn't mean that there weren't strings attached. As we allege, a particular Turkish government official behind many of the benefits Adams sought and accepted gave Adams all these things to gain influence over him. We allege that Adams knew that and took the benefits anyway. We allege that when the Turkish government official needed him, Adams also took corrupt official action in exchange for some of the luxury travel benefits. In 2021, the Turkish government official was trying to open a brand new high-rise building in Manhattan that would house Turkey's consulate. There was significant time pressure because the Turkish official desperately needed the building to be open in time for a visit from Turkey's president. This building was important to the Turkish official, and it was important to Turkey. But the FDNY's fire safety professionals wouldn't let the building open because the building hadn't passed an inspection. And not just that, some of the people at the FDNY thought the building had so many issues and defects that the building was not safe to occupy. So the Turkish official sent word to Adams that it was, quote, his turn, unquote, to support Turkey. And as we allege, Adams delivered and pressured the fire department to let the building open. The FDNY professionals were convinced that they would lose their jobs if they didn't back down. And so they did. They got out of the way and let the building open. The Turkish official got what he wanted. And as we explained in the indictment, just 4 days after Adams held up his end of the bargain, he went right back to soliciting more travel benefits from the Turkish airline. Now, I want to make
This
three
is
things
so wrong.
crystal
He
clear.
knows. He knows the rules.
First,
God.
the conduct alleged in the indictment, the foreign money, the corporate money, the bribery, the years of concealment, is a grave breach of the public's trust. Public office is a privilege. We allege that Mayor Adams abused that privilege and broke the law. Laws that are designed to ensure that officials like him serve the people, not the highest bidder, not a foreign bidder, and certainly not a foreign power. These are bright red lines, and we allege that the mayor crossed them again and again for years. That is the only reason we are here today. Second, this investigation continues. We continue to dig, and we will hold more people accountable.
Oh,
And I encourage anyone with information to come forward and to do so before it is too late. And third, the Southern District of New York remains committed to rooting out corruption without fear or favor and without regard to partisan politics. We are not focused on the right or the left. We are focused only on right and wrong. That is our duty, and we will fulfill it. Now, today's charges are the product of a tremendous partnership. I want to thank our partners at FBI and the New York City Department of Investigation who have been with us every step of the way. And finally, I want to commend the outstanding career prosecutors from SDNY who are handling this case. Celia Cohen, Andrew Rohrbach, Hagen Scotton, and Derek Wickstrom, and the chiefs of the Public Corruption Unit, Laura Pomerantz and Robert Sobelman. It's now my pleasure to turn the podium over to FBI Assistant Director in Charge, James Dennehy.
ooh.
Good morning, and thank you for being here today. The indictment of a sitting mayor is not just another headline. It is a stinging reminder that no one is above the law or beyond reproach, and it serves as a sobering moment for all of us who place our trust in elected officials. Today's indictment sends a powerful message to every elected official in this country. Public service is a profound responsibility and should be a noble calling. When that's perverted by greed and dishonesty, it robs us of our trust. It's a pact between leaders and their communities, built on the pillars of trust, accountability, and transparency. When that pact is broken, the consequences ripple far beyond one office or one election cycle. We know not all leaders are corrupt. We know there are countless public servants who wake up every day with the intention of doing right by their constituents. But we cannot ignore the shadow cast by moments like this. When trust is eroded, it takes years, sometimes decades, to rebuild.
That's funny. Sorry.
The weight of today's actions falls not just on the indicted official, but on every other public official who must now work harder to earn the public's confidence in them. It's important to remember accountability isn't just about punishing those with alleged wrongdoings. It's about lifting the communities they've let down. It's about rebuilding, restoring, and reimagining what public servants can and should do. It's up to us to demand more from our leaders, to hold them to the highest standards, and to remind them that the power of public office should never be abused. While some may be disappointed today, let me encourage you not to be defeated. The strength of our communities, our faith in one another, and our collective resilience are far greater than the alleged failings of any one individual. In closing, I'd like to thank the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Damian Williams, and his office, Commissioner Jocelyn Strauber, and the New York City Department of Investigation and her team, as well as my team, the Public Corruption Squad here at FBI New York. Thank you.
I'd like to welcome up Commissioner Jocelyn Strauber from the New York City Department of Investigation.
Okay. Still looking for that lawyer, preferably a New York City lawyer. So
Thank you, Damian. Good morning. Today, for the first time in New York City's modern history, we announce criminal charges against the sitting mayor of New York City. As our highest elected official, the mayor should set the standard for all of city government and exemplify the integrity, transparency, and dedication to serving the public that all New Yorkers deserve. Instead, the indictment unsealed today alleges that Mayor Adams abused his power and position for nearly a decade as Brooklyn Borough President and as mayor to enrich himself and his mayoral campaigns. As charged, he sought and received illegal campaign contributions, luxury travel, and other personal benefits from foreign nationals, as well as individuals and businesses. He allegedly took steps to conceal those illegal contributions and personal benefits and involved city employees and campaign staff in that concealment. As the indictment explains, this kind of corruption has real costs to the city and to the public. As alleged, the mayor's 2021 campaign falsely certified compliance with campaign finance laws in order to conceal those illegal campaign contributions. And as a result of those false certifications, received over $10 million in public matching funds. The mayor's alleged acceptance and concealment of illegal contributions and personal benefits gave overseas benefactors, wealthy individuals, and businesses undue influence over the mayor, influence that federal and local laws seek to prevent. And as charged, in exchange for certain personal benefits, the mayor pressured the New York City Fire Department to forego a required fire safety inspection before the opening of the new Turkish consulate building. As the city's Inspector General, the Department of Investigation, a city agency, conducts its investigations confidentially and wholly independent of City Hall. We handled this investigation as we would any other, following the facts and seeking to hold wrongdoers accountable, no matter their role or title. Our unique access to city records and expertise in matters of city government make us a critical partner in the fight to root out corruption, working closely with our law enforcement colleagues at the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office. If you have information about this case or about illegal conduct by any New York City official or employee, I encourage you to contact DOI by email at tipline@doi.nyc.gov or by phone at 212-825-2828. I want to thank the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York and the FBI for their partnership on this investigation. And I want to recognize and thank the dedicated, hardworking DOI investigators who are handling this matter. Senior Inspector General Eleanor Rivkin, Inspector General Audrey Feldman, Deputy Inspectors General Arturo Sanchez and Trenton Sweeney, and their supervisors, Deputy Commissioners Christopher Ryan and Dominic Sorella. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Can you just say, Mayor Eric Adams
Ooh.
has said he's not going to resign. He said that this is a witch hunt because
She tried. Ah, that was good. That was good. Let me see if there's anything else going on with this. I have been incessantly trying to find a lawyer to discuss some of these charges with and what they mean. Literally, Jarrett is in New York. Taryn, you pointed that out. He is, but he's already on the set of something that we're supposed to be doing. So I cannot use him, but I have literally hit up every single lawyer in my book. I will give them 2 more minutes, but I did a little bit of a recap as fast as I possibly could, just going over some of these key allegations. And I think it's important for everyone to note that they are dating this corruption back to when he was Brooklyn Borough president. I mean, this is dating back to 2016. And it's interesting because this is a bit close to home to me because I did campaign for Curtis Sliwa during the mayoral race in 2021. And I feel like, I mean, don't get me started on Curtis Sliwa. He definitely wasn't the best choice for the city, in my opinion. Sorry, my live was still on for YouTube, but yeah, he wasn't necessarily the best option for the city, but in my opinion, he was a better option than Eric Adams, and here we are. There was also allegations. I mean, he is known as the nightlife mayor, so to speak. So he's always seen with like Hollywood executives. I mean, it was said that he was friends with Diddy. And when there were rumors that Eric Adams was going to take away Diddy's key to the city, I was like, I bet he won't do that because Diddy knows too much about him. But clearly he did it anyway. But no, so Eric Adams was said to have ties to this guy, Cade Hudson, not Kate, Cade. He's a Hollywood agent. He's Britney Spears' best friend. But he was going back and forth to LA for a while because Cade was throwing him these fundraisers, and it was just strange. And it was just almost like that they were in a relationship, possibly. Pure speculation. I'm not sure, but it did kind of seem that way. But anyway, let me just go through here. So as they said, they mentioned illegal campaign contributions being funneled in from the Turkish government. So he's accused of seeking and accepting improper and illegal campaign donations as early as 2018. And the contributions were likely funneled through straw donors, which are individuals used to conceal the true identity of the contributors. And let me see, these were wealthy individuals, particularly from Turkey. And they used these donations to exert influence over Eric Adams. And apparently, as we just heard, they own some buildings that he was involved with. So then we have the foreign influence and bribery. Throughout his political career, they're alleging that Eric Adams developed relationships with influential Turkish nationals and businessmen. And these relationships resulted in this luxury international travel with free accommodations and very exclusive perks, and where he would pay $500 for a $10,000 business class seat. And it's like, you know, I think a lot of us, when we saw him going back and forth, a lot of tax-paying citizens were like, oh, he's using our tax money to funnel his like lifestyle, which is so amazing. And so, you know, just so, it's like a celebrity lifestyle. But nope, he wasn't using our money. He was using illegal funds, which I thought, oh yes, Matt Tympanick. Guys, look at this. Yes, Matt, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Hold on. One
Okay.
minute. Connected.
Yeah. Perfect.
There we go.
I literally, you guys, this is so funny. I told them, I'm like, I need a lawyer right now. So I so appreciate it. I was just going over high level, but please, Matt, these are federal charges. I was under the impression there was going to be 26 counts because something was leaked last night by this councilman, Joe Borelli. He claims it was one of his staff members. I think he was doing damage control, whatever. But please talk about these 5 different federal counts of corruption.
So basically, what you are seeing in this case is the federal government, the U.S. Attorney's Office has laid out this kind of conspiracy that started years ago, long before Mayor Adams ever even decided to run for office. He was accepting kind of discounted travel on business class and getting hotel stays for a fraction of what he paid. Sometimes they were $7,000 a night. He's taken, I don't know how much money, but what he was, the primarily point of the scheme is he was abusing, allegedly, the public matching campaign contributions that New York allows. So when you have a New York City resident and they make a donation, say, of $200, that matching, you get 8 times that in public funds. So that $200 donation would net you $1,600. And he did that thousands of times, allegedly. But the other part of the equation is that these are not New York City residents doing this. These are Turkish nationals getting individuals to make those contributions on their behalf. That's why they're called straw donations, which are illegal in the United States for this very reason.
Yeah.
The government talks about in the indictment about how once he became mayor, he started intervening on Turkish nationals who have connection, businessmen 1, 2, 3, and 4 on their behalf in situations where they were having issues like with the SDNY, and he would intervene and he would solve their problems. And then they would be like, okay, you're still our guy and we're going to continue to make these donations.
Right. Wow. I mean, so it's crazy because I worked on a few political campaigns because I live in New York City. So I worked on 2, one city council campaign, and then I actually campaigned for Curtis Lewa, who ran against Eric Adams, and also the governor. God, what was that? I don't even remember the year. But so yeah, matching donations were extremely hard. And I remember people said, don't donate $500. We'd rather you donate $50 because it'll be better for us because of the matching funds. I am floored by this, how they thought that they wouldn't get caught. The Turkish government funneling money into, and saying that this is a New York City resident and these are qualified for matching funds since 2018 when he was Brooklyn Borough president. This is serious, Matt. I mean, what is he facing here? Like, what type of prison sentence would he be facing for these?
Well, the biggest one would be wire fraud, which is punishable by up to 20 years in prison. Yes, that is big here. So the crazy thing about it is the small details. This is very important in criminal cases.
Okay.
Facts win cases. So fact is, Eric Adams' partner is always asking, oh, how are you getting there? It's like, oh, they wanted to go to Chile so they could go to Easter Islands. Like, oh, I want to see if they have a Turkish Airlines flies there. They didn't. Any chance he had an opportunity to use Turkish Airlines, that's all he used. It's not like, oh, I only fly Delta, they're best. It's like, no, he was only using Turkish Airlines because he would always get by economy, and then they would give him free upgrades to first class. He flew like a king everywhere he went. And that was kind of what the allegation is. And the idea of the scheme is that, all right, you funnel these donations because they have him on record talking about how money wins races. That's the only one thing that wins elections. So we need more money. I think he said he needed about $7 million to run. So he gets the Turkish money to funnel the money into his campaign through straw donations. The public matches those donations thinking they're actually from real individuals who actually live there, when in reality, they're just from the Turkish government. And then once he became mayor, he repaid those Turkish individuals and individuals with connections to the government by inserting himself in places he didn't need to.
Yeah, that was interesting. They mentioned a building that he owned, and I'm pulling up the indictment right now, Matt. They mentioned a lot of different stuff that I thought I knew what was about to go down today just because of what's been happening in the city with the police commissioner and even the new police commissioner, Tom Donlin. The feds raided his personal home for documents that were 20 years old, apparently. And I don't know if you saw this, but when they did that, he put out a statement and he's like, I won't be talking about this, and neither will the NYPD because it has nothing to do with my position now. And as a New Yorker, a resident of Manhattan. I'm like, what are you talking about? Of course it's relevant. Are you guys crazy? But let me just go through. It was these text messages. Did you happen to catch these?
I believe so.
Yeah. So, Matt, what, in your opinion, what do you think these text messages prove here? In January 2021, the Turkish official messaged the Adams staffer asking for a meeting with Adams. The Turkish official and the Adams staffer then exchanged the following messages. What will the topic be? The election. That's what. Okay. November 2nd, 2021, which is the date of the 2021 mayoral election. The Adams staffer says his favorite topic. Turkish official says, Turkish community to support him. What can we do? Let's talk. They didn't come right out and say it, Matt, but legally, what do those texts mean?
It's pretty clear that no jury is going to buy that these weren't attempts to solicit donations from foreign nationals, which are illegal in the United States and is against federal law. Nobody's going to see those and be like, well, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know that was illegal. No, nobody's going to buy that, especially when you add everything together. This indictment wraps this case together and puts a bow on top with about how it actually begins with the just small things like taking upgrades to first class and business class, and then goes into a full-on illegal straw campaign contribution crisis, fraud, and then he repays them when he's mayor. So it has a beginning, middle, and end into how it actually, this whole scheme. So when you review these text messages, it's pretty clear exactly why they wanted to do it. It's like, oh, you only need to give $50. Why? Because we know we're going to get $400 in our public matching funds that come from the taxpayers. This was allegedly, if it is proven in a court of law, remember, these are just allegations, this would result in Mayor Adams probably doing a decade in federal prison. That's what I feel potentially more, just simply in the wire fraud and that he basically essentially sold out his city, allegedly, for his own personal gain. All of which are not going to go over well with a jury in the Southern District of New York, where this case will ultimately be tried.
And it's funny you say that. This is literally sitting on my desk. I have to fill this out. It's like last message, Lauren, before you're fined $5,000. We need to get you in there for jury selection. But really quickly, there's some questions in the chat, but I want to just read this to you as well, Matt. Adams staffer. He is also asking where else they can go in Turkey. Do you have a recommendation? Airline manager, Four Seasons, Adams staffer. It's too expensive. Airline manager. Why does he care? He is not going to pay. His name will not be on anything either. Adams staffer, super. What? Like, I mean, I have to say, like, did they? I think you can get text from Signal, but are people that arrogant or that dumb to put this in text? I mean,
I think the best way. So when you're dealing, and this is very important to know in public corruption cases, in a public corruption case, the government needs to prove is that you took the money. They don't need to prove that you did anything, that you followed up on any bribe. You just need to take the money. Buddy Cianci, when he was mayor of Providence, they could never get him on anything except one video where he put money into a briefcase and walked away with it. That's all they had, and that was enough to get him. Here, we have Mayor Adams allegedly intervening for Turkish nationals in cases where he shouldn't be. He's actually following up on the bribery allegations and is like, hey, here's the money. Now I need to repay my debt to these individuals. So what you are seeing is nothing short of a massive fraud, allegedly, against the people of New York City.
Well, Matt, can you just explain precisely what wire fraud actually is, since that seems to be the biggest and, this looming charge that serves that crazy prison? What did you say, 20 years?
Up to 20 years, depending on the enhancements and what the sentencing guidelines would say, compounded with the other charges. Wire fraud. So there's two kind of things of primarily instances of fraud: wire fraud and mail fraud. Mail fraud is done through the mail. Very simply, you're like, do something and put something in the mail. Mail fraud. Wire fraud is everything else, like using a computer or perfect example, somebody has a bank account somewhere and they wire money into your election campaign fund. So that was partially what they were doing. But what they were doing in between, allegedly, is they had like an intermediary. In one, I think it was businessman number 4.
Yes.
It's like, hey, instead of
Yes.
you giving me the money, your employees, 4 of them could make $2,000 donations, and then you reimburse them. So it doesn't appear like I'm going to be making any favors to a businessman. It's just 4 ordinary citizens of the city of New York. So wire fraud is anything that's like on a computer, anything across interstate commerce lines, or even in this case, across country lines.
And they have proof of this. They have documentation. Matt, Eric Adams is making statements publicly saying, if there are charges brought, I believe I am innocent. I know I'm innocent. I am a target. This is a witch hunt. Sure, maybe it's politically motivated, but that doesn't mean that it's not true. What the hell is his defense going to be? How is he going to get himself out of this one and backpedal here? He's, all morning and last night, I am innocent. I am innocent. I know these are allegations, but it doesn't look like he's innocent.
I definitely think it's going to be lack of knowledge. But the problem is that he doesn't really understand. Prior to making those statements, an attorney shouldn't explain to him how the public corruption and wire fraud statute actually works. It was, well, I didn't know. I was just trying to help out where I thought was necessary. No, you're allegedly getting upgrades, which would probably cost $7,000 to $10,000. And then when a Turkish national has an issue, you intervene in the SDNY's like inspection over some kind of building, skyscraper, whatever it was. And by doing so, you took the money and now you're following up on it. Yeah. This whole idea that it's like you didn't know what was going on, it's just not going to fly. I would be, unless he is delusional and one of those defendants who are completely removed from reality, I honestly don't see him actually taking this to trial, because seeing all these things come out, a jury is going to be like, there is no world we live in where you didn't know what was going on, and you did this out of your own self-interest. You were thinking of yourself and only yourself when you did this, when you created this fraud scheme and soliciting donation from another country that anybody who's ever, been in public service knows it's a no-no, much less the mayor of New York City. Yeah. So I think his defense, they're going to try to say lack of knowledge or ignorance. It's just not going to fly, though.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So you brought up, you don't think that, this would necessarily go to trial. They'll make some kind of plea before then. And I'm speculating. I don't have any inside knowledge of this, but my friend Arthur Aidala in New York, he represents Harvey Weinstein. He represents Ghislaine Maxwell. His firm represents a lot of bad people. And his whole thing, as a defense attorney, he's not trying to get these guys out. He's just trying to get them, I guess he's trying to make them as comfortable as they could possibly be, if that makes sense. And so I have a feeling that Adams might tap into Arthur for this, or his firm here, and work something out. I mean, that's just my speculation. So I guess we'll see what happens if I'm right about that. But I wanted to pin this question, Matt, from Taryn. Matt, what do you think about them listing people as businessman 1, 2, staffer 1, staffer 2? Does this mean these people are working with the feds?
It depends. Some of these people might be unindicted co-conspirators, but for them to be able to bring this indictment, they needed a lot of cooperation from numerous people, because there are facts in the indictment that show such a clear picture of the scheme that they couldn't have pieced it together with wire statements and looking at fraudulent transactions. People have to have already been cooperating witnesses who have been maybe granted immunity, agree that they would get some kind of plea deal, because at the end of the day, the Southern District and the feds, they always want the top dog. And in this case, that would be Mayor Adams. This is the top of the food chain. Everybody else, that is fair game for some kind of plea deal and to make sure that the feds have him cold. Because if he does go to trial, they are going to need to button this up perfectly, because a jury is just going to be floored when they hear the allegations and the pure stupidity of the the conspiracy and the scheme that was so basic in nature that any middle schooler could have put it together what they were actually doing.
Well, I mean, right? And I guess I this kind of took a while. If they've been invested, or maybe they just started looking into him, right? Last year, 2 years ago, whatever, and they dated this back. Is that possible as well? Or do you think this has been going on for that long?
I would say this has been probably at least 2 years.
2 years.
Because the way it works with a federal investigation is some kind of tip somewhere. Some FBI agent working in the white collar unit gets some kind of tip, follows it up, and goes with it, sees where the thread leads them to.
Yeah.
Then they start to investigate. Once they got to the search warrant phase, which was I think last November with Mayor Adams, they've already made it pretty clear that you're going to be indicted eventually, but we need to make sure we have all of our ducks in a row. We need to make sure we have the story cold before we arrest you, because once that happens, we're not going to get anything more. And our biggest leverage, the government's, is all the people beneath them. We don't really want you. You did crimes and you will pay for that, but you're not going to be looking at the decade-long prison sentence he's going to get. Some of you may even get probation or immunity, but a vast majority of the people probably will serve a short prison sentence, relatively speaking, because, they did help facilitate a massive fraud against the United States and the people of New York City.
Now, Matt, I want to ask your opinion on this. When Diddy got arrested, Jeffrey Epstein got arrested, they began texting people and saying, make sure, that you say that I didn't do this. You never saw me abuse this person. You never saw me do that, which is part of the reason that, they were held without bail. What do you think about Eric Adams when they make the actual arrest? If that is happening when he surrenders? I mean, I personally think that he will be, house arrest, maybe. I don't know. But just, I can't see him going to MDC. Can you?
What I think is going to actually happen is, so this is a public corruption, white collar cases.
Right.
He'll probably be asked to post some kind of bond, maybe supervised release, but he will be asked to surrender his passport. This is not a situation where the government is going to be asking for detention. The only situation they might do that, it would be to politicize it if it were to get him to resign, because if he's detained in wherever the Brooklyn correctional facility with Diddy and Sam, whatever his name is from FTX.
Yes. Wait,
that's
sorry, Matt, would they go to the same place, even though this is white collar federal crimes? He would still go to, if that was a thing.
It would depend. Sometimes it depends on what the population is like and whether overcrowding. I don't think he's going to go to Rikers or something like that. But
no, because this is federal. So Rikers.
I don't see a situation where Mayor Adams is held. It's not a situation where the public is at harm, because in Diddy's case, that was dealing with sex trafficking and where people were actually being allegedly harmed. This is more of a financial nature. So it'd be a real stretch to convince a U.S. magistrate judge, obviously not a district court judge. Magistrate judge usually handles kind of detention hearings. That would be much more difficult, and I'd say it's unlikely. I think he's going to be released with an order to release his passport. I think that it's going to be a situation, though, where I think the governor is actually going to step in and relieve him of his duties, because I believe she does have the power to suspend him, if not. And I absolutely think that's going to happen sooner rather than later, just simply because the allegations are way too steep. And it's the most like the greatest city on earth. You can't have its mayor literally being under corruption charges. And at that, a massive corruption and a fraud for him to get the position he currently occupies. He can't be held. He can't stay in that position, in my opinion.
I mean, and I don't want to get political, and I completely understand what you're saying. As I mentioned, I campaigned for somebody else, but Eric Adams, at this point, the next person in line, Jumaane Williams, this city will burn with Jumaane Williams. I'm not kidding. It will be like, and I swear, you guys, I'm not trying to get political, and this has nothing to do with politics, but he would be completely fine with every street being blocked off for a pro-Palestine protest. He is that guy, okay? Like, New York will fall apart. I just don't think, I think this is horrible. And again, I was not a fan of Eric Adams, but he was talking about the migrants. He asked Joe Biden for help. Joe Biden didn't give him any help. But also Eric Adams invited everybody into New York City. I'm just nervous for the city where I live, for my kids. It's not a great situation. And where I think that obviously he should be held accountable. I just want him to stay in office. As weird as that sounds. Is that horrible? I'm like, this is horrible. I don't know what to say. And Joey, Brooklyn Joey, I'm going to pin this. You got this from Google. I have not fact checked this, but a high conviction rate of 95 criminal cases resulting in a guilty plea at the Southern District of New York. So that's pretty great. A reputation for being very aggressive.
It's usually the federal court is right around 90 to 95. A Southern District is often known as the Sovereign District of New York, as it is it believes it's the marquee U.S. Attorney's office in the country. I'm not saying it's wrong, but you get charged by the Southern District, it's very rare they lose. And looking at these allegations, how perfectly and the story they were able to tell in the small details, I don't see a world where Mayor Adams walks on this.
You don't. I don't either. What do you think, just before I let you go really quick, what would be a fair plea for him? What do you think the minimum sentence? Could he get away with 5 years? Could he get away with no? Holy crap.
We're talking. So when I was still a law clerk, my office worked on the case involving Salvatore DeMasi in Massachusetts, who was the Speaker of the House when he was charged with the honest services fraud. I'm not going to get into the details. I obviously still can't really talk about what I did on the case, but he eventually he was convicted and he got 8 years in prison. And that was over $50,000 worth of fraud. And this was 13 years ago. So I think his sentence would very likely be in the 10 to 12 year range, if I were to guess.
I mean, there's like a white collar prison in Westchester, New York, that is pretty country club like. I don't know. This is so crazy. Yeah, the chat is saying there's rumors that he'll be forced to resign. As you mentioned, Kathy Hochul does have the authority to bump him out. I have my hesitations about her. I think there could be a possibility that she may have known about some of these things. Pure speculation, guys, not factual. But I should put together some of my research that I've done on her and her campaign as well at some point here. But this is so alarming, and I am so worried for this city. I'm just upset. Why would he do this? Why would he do this? But
it's pretty clear why he did it, and it kind of lays out exactly that he'd been trying to plan to be mayor for years, and that's where the real power is. And he figured out a way that's like, how am I going to outraise all of my competitors? Because de Blasio is so bad, that seat's going to be open and everybody's going to want it. And he sold out to be able to be mayor for 3 years, all of which he was pretty much under investigation for corruption charges. So it's like, is New York City Gotham now? Is everything? And I felt this was coming for the last several months because the police commissioner resigned and deputy chiefs of staff were resigning and cooperating with federal investigators. I was like, okay, they're getting to the point where now they just need the last piece of the puzzle, and that's the head honcho, the top dog. That's where this is going. Once you see everybody plea, resignations, people lawyering up, that's usually a tip-off that it's like, now they're going after the big dog.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I guess I wasn't shocked over Cabin and his brother. I mean, it is gross. These guys, Cabin's brother was allegedly extorting small businesses and threatening them if they didn't use, his services to
racketeering.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the legal jargon here. But no, it's gross. It's really concerning. And I got to say, he would have won without all of this. There wasn't a chance that Curtis Sliwa was going to win. I just remember this and working on his campaign. Again, he brought his cats to the polls. And Joey, I know he absolutely would bring back clean justice, funding the police, totally. but don't bring your cats to the polls. That's whack. That's crazy. And you look crazy doing so. So it's almost like I felt like in the end, Curtis didn't care about us. He just cared about himself, because why would you do that?
What in this type of situations, the biggest problem with these politicians is that they are so insecure about their political instincts and skills that they're like, I
Good.
have to basically outraise everybody and basically bribe everybody to support me. And then once I got the job, then nobody's going to take it from me because I'm the incumbent. When in reality, the people, especially the city of New York, just want somebody who, to be honest, especially having to deal with de Blasio like they did. That's really what they're looking for. Somebody they could actually believe in, and somebody who's just at the bare minimum, just not out for themselves and being corrupt and not just wanting to live in Gracie Mansion, running reds in a limo, flying on Turkish Airways. It's a very low bar, and there's got to be somebody who could maybe cross that, who doesn't end up getting indicted for this, that, and the other thing, or end up having mob connections.
Oh my gosh. You're so right though. We went through such a hard time with de Blasio. I mean, I think that the city was so happy to see him go. And unfortunately, we just haven't had great candidates. And this is just
He was a Trojan horse. Eric Adams was always a Trojan horse. They're like, the prospect of change was so great that people weren't actually looking at the red flags that were clearly on the table. It's like, where are all these donations coming from? Why are they? He's really taking advantage of this matching contribution fund. And one of the biggest effects of this is that in Florida, where I live, that is on the ballot in November. Talk about getting rid of public matching of funds for like gubernatorial races. And yeah, so there's an old saying in politics: never let a good crisis go to waste. And I guarantee, based on Eric Adams abusing this, that is going to be used down here in Florida to justify doing away with it.
Oh my gosh. And that's so big for politicians, the matching funds. I mean,
and then it opens the door for large money, soft money donations galore.
Man.
And now you're really run by special interests and lobbyists. Not to get too political, but just the reality and the legal reality of this.
Because I've already gotten political and saying I hate these far left people in the city. And I know I live in a very blue state and I'm totally fine with that. But like, this is just a little bit, you have to understand, in New York, it's so different. It is literally just, it's a different world than Florida. I can't even explain to you. And I love New York for so many reasons, but I just knew that it was different when, my 4-year-old, or he's not 4 now, but when he was 4, he came home from school and he's like, 2 girls can get married. I'm like, awesome. What's 2 + 2, bro? And he like couldn't, you know what I mean? Like, it's like they're very much into the pushing different type of social agendas, which is fine. But again, this is where it's so tough to find a moderate on either side in New York. So I think that Eric Adams has put us into a really bad position. He screwed the people of New York, and or Manhattan, the Bronx, Brooklyn, all of the boroughs. This is terrible. But anyway, Matt, where can people find you? I'm going to put everything in the episode notes since you jumped on, but if they want to find you, please let us know.
On social media at Tympanick Law.
It's here. Okay, at Tympanick Law. And I spelled your name right. I'm so proud. I did that without looking at anything. So here we go. All right, guys. So I'm going to put Matt's info in the episode notes. I follow Matt on Twitter. I love all of his commentary. I would say the only case we don't necessarily totally see eye to eye on is Karen Reed. But then again, that's a totally different beast. But I still love all of your insights and I love hearing what you have to say. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on. And yes, everybody else appreciates you as well. So thank you.
Thank you for having me on.
We'll do this again next time, planned, okay?
Thank you, Lauren.
That would be great. Thank you, Matt. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys. Now I also have to run. This has just been a day. So I'm going to be offline for a little bit, but hopefully you will catch me later with some updates on this and some other things. And I want to say just really quickly, I'm sorry to my members. I usually put out the Thursday podcast early before it's released to everybody on Friday. I'm going to try to do that later tonight when I get back. That was my plan for now, but instead I went live because this was breaking news. So Anyway, guys, I will catch you later. Thank you so much for joining and listening to the Eric Adams stream and indictment chat.